Okay, so welcome back guys. This is episode 3 of the Discord.js series. Sorry it's been a while since I uploaded, I've just been really busy, but hopefully we're going to get back into things now. So in this episode I'm going to be going through adding some more commands and using possibly a command handler. The command handler will be for more advanced commands, but it's good to get it in here early because then we can just add commands without worrying about needing to register them by ourselves. So the first thing we're going to do is open up Visual Studio Code for our project. I'm going to be basing this off of another command handler I've built. The initial thing we're going to do is just add some more commands here, just so we can see what each function does from Discord.js, so like reply, embeds, stuff like that. And then as we go on in this episode, we're just going to add a file in a folder that's just going to register our commands for us, so we don't have to do this every time in our message create event. So the first command we're going to create is a reply command. This is just going to simply reply to our message with some text, just so we can use the message.reply function in Discord.js. So if message.content is equal to, again we're using exclamation point as our prefix, we're going to do exclamation reply. Going to open the curly brackets, we're going to do message.reply. Then we have to do something different. They changed it recently. However, it's quite simple. We have to do open the curly braces, content colon with some parentheses, and just put this is a reply. Then I'm going to put a semicolon on there. And now we can node space dot to run the bot, and once the bot is launched we'll go back to Discord, we'll do exclamation point reply, and as you can see the bot has replied to us and it's pinged us in our reply. Now if that hasn't worked for you, I'm going to point you towards Discord.js guide. This has everything you'll need to start a bot, and it also has all the documentation up here for Discord.js itself on their official website. Yeah, the Discord.js guide is a great tool to have, especially when you're learning. I still use it sometimes, but I know a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is different to what this guide will show me. The next command we're going to do is a help command. Now a lot of people will just see exclamation point help and it'll list the commands that are available, which is what we're going to do, but we're going to do this in an embed using the embed builder. So if message.content is equal to exclamation point help, we're going to do open the curly braces, and what we're going to have to do here is we're going to do const to create a constant. We're going to call this embed equals new, then we're going to do embed builder. It should pop up like this. If it doesn't, you may have to go up here. It's already imported it for me, but you may have to go up here, put embed builder in your require section, and it should pop up. We're going to put the we're going to put brackets around it. Now I'm going to do this on new line so it's readable, but you can do this all on one line. Now we're going to do .set title. We're going to set the title to help, and then we're going to do add fields with each field. So each new line has to be in its own curly brace, and it goes. So we're going to add name. Hang on. We need to name colon in and then speech marks, and then we have to do value colon and then speech marks again. So the first one we're going to do is exclamation point help. I'm going to say provides help for all commands. The next one we're going to do is the ping command. So we're going to do exclamation point ping. We're going to do again value test command. You also do need to go to end of each line and put commas after the curly braces, except on the last one. And we're going to open some more curly braces, do name. We're going to do you have to do exclamation point reply value command to test replies. I am going to put full stops on the end of these to make them look a bit better. And this embed still is just there. It doesn't actually, Discord doesn't know it exists yet. So what we have to do now is we have to do message.channel.send. We have to open these curly braces and you have to type embeds, colon, and then embed. Now sometimes you may have to put these inside of square brackets. I'm going to do that anyway because I know this works. You might not have to, but you also might. It depends on what version of Discord.js you're using. So we're going to quit that, we're going to run the bot again. As you can see, it's logged in. Let's do !help, and as you can see, it brings up this help embed with our title and our text. As you can see, these commands are all listed above each other, which is what would normally happen. However, if you wanted to put these next to one another and make the embed longer than taller, all you'd have to do is go back to Visual Studio Code. After each of these, you just put inline true. If I'm just going to copy paste this, but if you put this on all the lines and then run the bot, if we run !help again, as you can see, it puts the commands next to one another. Now, you wouldn't necessarily use this for a help command because it does look a bit cluttered, but you may use it for the things like in the future when we might add a warning system to the bot. You can add the user, the reason, and the moderator, or the user, the reason, the date, or whatever you'd want, and you can have it so that all the warnings are individually, like they have their own line while they stack on top of each other as well. These are 3 commands that are just basic to create and stuff. However, this is very inefficient. It's all in the main file, which is not very good, and you're just listing everything in your message create function and forcing it to loop through all of this every single time you want a command, which can cause the bot to crash. So what we need to do, or well, what's recommended is you create a command handler. It's going to be, I've said this already, it is going to be a bit more complicated, but it's always a good idea to have. First thing we want to do is underneath that, well actually the first thing we want to do is just comment out these commands, because we can't have these running while we're using a command handler. The next thing we want to do is go outside of all of our events and go underneath our token, and we're going to do client.commands equals new collection. Now this is going to import collection from Discord.js. What this is basically doing is that our commands are going to be in its own list. This won't do anything by itself. We need to also export the client. We need to do module.exports equals client. This isn't necessary for the command handler, I don't think, but it is good practice because now you can call the client in any external files you want. The next thing we're going to do is, this is again a bit over engineered, but it's also good because we can register our event handler the same way. We're going to do open these square brackets, we're going to type command, and then we're going to do dot for each, open normal brackets, handler, with an arrow function and curly braces, and then we're going to do require. We're going to use these backticks so we can insert our own variables. Dot slash. We're going to create this directory in a minute. Handlers slash $, open curly braces, handler, and then you also need to, outside of this require, you need to also put here client. Now what this is basically doing is it's saying for each of these handlers listed here, you're going to go into this directory and pull the name of the handler from the file and cast it as a client function. So now we need to create the handlers directory. So we need to do a new directory. You can do it using this button up here, this plus folder, and type handlers. Now it's an empty directory, and then this button next to it, you click there and you just put command.js. It must be called, this file must be called the exact same as what you've put here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we need to import some stuff. So we need to do const read the sync equals require fs. Now it's possible that you don't have fs installed like I do because I've used it before, but if you don't, all you need to do is come down to your terminal, type npm ifs, and it will install fs for you. As you can see, I have already got it installed, so it just updated my package. The next thing we're going to do is const path equals require path. You also may not have path installed. I think it comes standard with Node.js now, but you might not have it. One thing you probably won't have installed is the table that we're going to be using, so in the console we can list what commands are loaded properly. This is not a necessary step. I'm going to do it anyway because it does actually give us a good view of what commands are loading and what is wrong. So we're going to do const ASCII, I think it's ASCII, equals require ASCII-table. Now, as you can see, I don't actually have this installed on this project, so what I need to do is take this, copy it, npm I ASCII table, and it's going to download it all. So next we're going to do let table equals new ASCII. We're going to call this commands. So we're going to do table.set heading. We're going to do command and load status. This is basically setting the headings of the table to the commands that we want and whether it's loaded or whether there's an error. The next thing we're going to do is what we did in the client in our index file with module.export, but this time we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to do module.export equals async. This is called an asynchronous function, and it means we can make things wait for other things before they happen. This is required for this handler to work properly, otherwise you're not going to have a very good time trying to debug it. And we're going to do an arrow function casting client. First line we're going to have is read the sync, and then we're going to create this directory again later. We're going to do dot slash commands slash dot for each with another arrow function. And now this is where it does get a bit more complicated. So there's going to be loads of filtering, there's going to be for loops and stuff. So I would recommend you follow through with this. And as I've said before, all of this is going to be on my GitHub. I would recommend you follow through with this because it is actually a lot easier than registering your commands manually in your message create event. The first thing we're going to do is const commands equals read the sync with these backticks of dot slash commands slash $$ with another slash. Then we're going to go outside of these brackets and do dot filter. We're going to open brackets file with an arrow function to file dot ends with. Then we need to make sure we put .js in this section. This is basically going to go into our commands folder and then find any directories there and filter all the files it finds that ends with .js. Of course, if you're going to move to TypeScript later on, you will have to change this to .ts, but that's unlikely to happen in this series as this is just going to be our JavaScript series. This is the next line. We're going to do for brackets let file of commands. So this is basically saying for each file of the commands it finds, we're going to let pull equals require. I'm going to use these backticks again. We're going to do dot slash commands slash $dir slash $ file. This is basically saying whatever we pull is going to equal the command file that we've got. But then I'm going to do if pull.name. So we're going to see if there's a name in the file. We're going to do client.commands.set. Then we're going to do pull.name and then pull. This is basically adding to our collection that we made in our index file right here. We're going to add to it that there is a command with the name and then the actual command itself. Then we're going to do table.addRow file, and then in these next quotation or speech marks, I'm going to put a checkbox. If you don't know how to do this, you can either just go online and Google a checkbox emoji and then just paste that in here, or if you're on Windows, you can do Windows key and period or full stop or whatever, and just search check, and all you have to do is click it, and there you go, you've got an emoji picker built into Windows. Now I would honestly recommend just copying this file from my GitHub if you don't have too much time, like I said earlier, and if you can't figure out how to get the checkbox and stuff, but it is also better to just type it out yourself because you're more likely to remember it. Next we're going to do else, so that if something happens we can figure out what's going on. We're going to do table.add_row file, and then we're going to open these again. We're going to do another emoji. I'm going to do a cross that's here, and then we're going to just put a message about it. So missing help.name, or help.name is not a string. This is basically telling us that it's missing the name of the command or something is wrong. I'm going to do continue, and just outside of here we're going to do console.log table.toString. This is basically going to put our table in our console, so when we run the bot it will show us everything. Now before we even run this, even though we have no commands there, all we have to do is create a commands directory, and this is just because otherwise the bot will error out. Now if we run the bot, for some reason it prints the table out like this. I assume it's because it's not got any data to fill the rest of the table in, but the bot does log in fine, and if we go back to Discord we can see the bot is online. So how do we put some data into this table? Well, this commands directory we made, we're going to need to make some more directories there. The first one I'm going to make is called general, and this is just going to be where no normal commands go, and as you can see it's kind of done this thing where it's commands and then straight to general because there's no other directories here. If you want to add another directory to commands, all you have to do is click the word commands and then press the file button again, or the folder button, and I'm going to do a test directory. This is where the ping and the reply command are going to go, and I'm going to put the help command in here. All you need to do is create a new file, and I'm going to call this ping.js. In here it's really simple. You do module.exports equals, and then open some curly braces. We're going to do name, do a string, so we're going to call this ping, a comma, we're going to do description. This isn't required, but it does help when we create a more advanced help command in the future. We're going to call this ping command. This is just simple, basic. Then we're going to do run, colon, async, client message, args. Not all of these are necessary every time, but it is good practice. Then you just have to do message.channel send pong. Yes, this command has been created, but it won't do anything yet. If I do this, run the bot again, as you can see the table prints properly this time, but the bot won't do anything. It doesn't know that there's a command there. If I do ping, I just type ping, it won't do anything. It has no idea how to respond because the message event doesn't even know what to look for. What we need to do is, we have commented this out already, then what we're going to do is we're going to say if our message content starts with, we need to do if our message doesn't start with, and then we're going to do exclamation point. We use type return because we don't want it to reply to messages that are just ping or whatever. We want it to start with our prefix. Then we need to do message.content.split our prefix, and then we also need to let command equals client.commands.get cmd. Now this cmd we haven't made yet, I missed that out by accident. We just need to do let const args equals message.content.slice exclamation point dot length dot trim dot split, and then we have to do /+/g. I'm not entirely sure what this does. I'm pretty sure it just gets rid of our prefix, and then a new line we have to do const cmd equals args.shift.toLowerCase. Now all this is going to do is just take the argument, which is our actual command, and just put them all to lowercase. The next thing we're going to do is if command, then open up these, and we're going to do command.run client message args, and close that up. Now this should in theory work now. So what we're going to do is we're going to close out the bot and run it again. obviously I only have the ping command set up here. We will do the other commands in a moment. We do !ping now. As you can see, there's an error. That's because I messed up on this line. This shift has to have some parentheses around it, otherwise it doesn't get called properly. So let's run the bot again and hopefully it works. As you can see, it's logged in. We do !ping, we get pong back. This is our simple command handler and the message event. This is the full command handler for registering all of our commands, and here's the simple command. So all we're going to do is I'm going to add these other two commands we have, so help, reply and ping, well, help and reply, and we're going to do that by, in our test one, we're going to create a new file called reply.js. Now the easiest thing to do is to just go back to your ping command, copy it, and just paste it in and just replace all of your responses. Reply, obviously in this one we have to change this to message.reply, and then we can, I'm going to go back to my initial file and just copy this content bit. That's all done. And then in our general folder I'm going to put the help command, so help.js. Gonna make sure I take all this from the main file, so I'm gonna uncomment it temporarily just to copy it. And when we go back here, we need to make sure we do module.exports equals name, help, description, the help command, run async client message args, and we're just going to put these in here. Make sure you write this correctly. Now as you can see, this looks fine, but there is actually one more thing we need to do. We need to go to the top of this file and do const embed builder equals require discord.js. This is basically because we need to call this embed builder function, and we need to import it in this file before we can actually call it. Now I'm just going to go back and delete these commands from my main file because they're not needed anymore. And what we should see is the bot will run. It's registered all of our commands here, and if we do !help, you see all of the commands show up. If we do !reply, it should reply. Yep, and that's it. That's a command handler for our Discord bot. Next time, I think we'll look at event handlers, which will allow us to incorporate more than just the ready and the message event. You could also add the when a member joins, so guild member join, or when a member leaves, and we can listen for those events using the event handler. Thank you all for watching. I will see you another time.